Hi, welcome everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to talk to Robyn Carr and to welcome everyone who wants to listen to another video around nursing informatics development, implementation and evaluation over 5 decades. And in this video, it's the personal accounts and experiences from Robyn Carr. And it is my honor and privilege to talk to Robyn. And so, Robyn, I'm going to start with the first question. So, can you briefly describe, please, your journey that you've had in informatics?
Thank you, Michelle, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. And we've done a lot of things together, so this is another thing we can add to our list. I come from a clinical background in the operating theatre, and I could see the potential of technology in the OR environment. When computers first came into the hospitals in New Zealand, I shifted to the IT department and was moved up into the role of customer service manager, leading the implementation of systems into 3 major hospitals.
Wow. So what other areas of informatics have you worked in? So you've got your clinical background from theatre, but I know you've done so much more, including with IMIA-Medinfo.
Oh yes, I went to the Melbourne conference. I was lucky enough to go to that, and I saw what was happening very early in the piece, and I thought I want to be part of it. So that's why I shifted to the IT department, and eventually going through there, meeting heaps of lovely people that were setting IMIA-Medinfo up, and eventually I became secretary, and then I became vice chair, and then I became the president, the chair, whatever it was called. I can't remember now. The chair, I think. And that was fabulous. I had 3 years of helping to build the organisation and work with the fabulous people in it.
And what about your involvement with informatics in New Zealand? Because I know you've been instrumental with what has happened here.
Oh yes, well, we started with a conference for nurses on technology, and that was it encouraged a lot of people to come, a lot of nurses, and also some even doctors came, and they said, why are you calling it nursing? Because we said, well, that's our strength, and we'll look at something later on for blending it in with the other clinicians. And that year we thought we can't just leave it at that, and it was Jan Houseman that originally organised that. So we then opened the organisation, which was called HINS. No, it was called NINS, Nursing Informatics New Zealand. And then eventually we changed it to HINS because the doctors wanted to be part of it, and some of the other clinicians like physios or anyone else interested in informatics could join. And now we've got a very strong, good organisation called HINS. And it's just lovely seeing that grow from a small group of 5 nurses in a motel saying, hey, this is coming to nurses, we need to do something about it. So we did, and now it's blooming, and I just sit back and watch it and think, wow.
Wow, what an amazing thing you started. And we're instrumental from that very beginning. But can I just ask you, because I do know that you still are currently involved in informatics on a voluntary basis. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, well, I was asked at one of our conferences if I knew anybody that would be interested in this website that was done from England. And what it is it's a website that any doctors in referring countries that will sign up can put their cases to this website, and they get answered by consultants of that experience. So example, the third world countries, the ones like Nepal, and they haven't got the specialists that they can send their patients to. So they come to this website and they write their case up, and they can add photos, lab results, x-rays, whatever they like to it. And then it comes through to a group of coordinators, of which I am one. I do the down under, anything from night when England's sleeping, I'm on duty.
So you're the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah, Southern Hemisphere. It comes through as an email to me to say there's a new case. So I go and I read up the case and I look at all the attachments just to make sure that they can be read and seen, because they were coming in different formats. Now they're very good. They come, I have no problem at all. And then I identify through the 500 plus consultants that we've got of who'd be best to answer it. Sometimes it's more than one person. You might send it to a consultant in surgery, and then you might send it to a radiologist to look at too. And they then look at it and they reply to the doctor that referred, and I can read that. And once it's closed, it sometimes goes backwards and forwards a few times, but once it's closed, it's got a green spot on it, and the doctor's really grateful. And I'll tell you an example of one. I was on my computer working, and up came, there's a case. So I looked at it, and it was a skin case from Papua New Guinea. And I thought, oh, one of our consultants is a top skin professional in Hamilton here. And I thought, oh, I wonder if she's online. So I pushed it through to her, and it was this patient that had this dreadful skin condition. And you saw the photographs and everything. And she was online. So she immediately replied what it was and what cream should be used. And within 9 minutes, the doctor in Papua New Guinea got the answer. Now, probably the patient was still with them, I don't know, but that was pretty quick. And here, if you go to a specialist, the GP writes a referral letter, you ring the specialist to get an appointment, and sometimes it's 6 months before you can get in. Whereas this system is very quick. It's great. And when there's children as the patient, it must be answered within 1 to 2 days, preferably the same day. But for adults, sometimes it takes a bit longer.
That's wonderful. So what is that organisation called?
It's called the Swinfen Charitable Trust. And you can go online to look up Swinfen Charitable Trust, and you can read all about it and see what people are there and what they're doing. And it's really interesting. So I think that's good. And also, it keeps me up to date with technology and also answers. I always read the answers, not only my own, but others too, and think, oh, yeah, okay. So,
so you're still involved in informatics?
Yes, still involved.
But now let's go back again. Who have been the people who inspired you or perhaps mentored you during your journey?
Well, because it was so new that we sort of, can't think of the word that I should use here. We sort of did the groundwork. Mm-hmm. We didn't have anyone to ask.
You were the pioneers, is what I'd say.
Yes, that's the word, pioneer. And that was interesting because it's sort of like you test things and make sure it worked or improve on things. And it was really interesting being part of that. Yes, it was hard to go back and read what should happen because it hadn't happened before. So you had to make up the decisions and work around it. And we did that. Whereas now the young ones have got that ability to go and look and see what happened before and improve on it. So we're just moving forward all the time.
What about, did you have mentors to help you or guide you towards getting involved in the international informatics community?
Not really. Marianne Board came to visit us and spoke to our committee, and we had a lunch together when she was in New Zealand. And she said, we said, what do we need to do? And she said, you need to get somebody on the IMIA-NI as a member. So we had a little meeting, and I had to go back to work because I was very busy. So I left them alone. And when I got back to work, they told me I'm it. And I said, oh, gosh. I said, well, I'll have to ask my boss because, and he said, yes, that's going to make a benefit to us as well, to know what's happening international. So I was given that because it meant traveling every year to somewhere where the meeting was. And so I've been doing that, and I can't remember what year it was, but boy, it's been an interesting journey, I can tell you.
That's wonderful. So you've indicated some of the things that have been rewarding, but what do you think are the most rewarding aspects of your work in informatics?
the most rewarding aspect was identifying what was needed and where it would be most beneficial. Also, in observing the clinicians and other staff members readily embracing the new way of work. This was especially prevalent in the nursing environment. So just seeing the nurses using the technology to help them with their decision making was probably the most rewarding for me.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it, when you realize nurses can do this?
Yes, and do it very well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what about the challenges that you faced?
Yes, well, probably the biggest challenge was it was not surprising that some doctors had problem changing to the way they worked. Hence, friendly persuasion was necessary. I had one doctor say to me, "Don't put a computer in my office." He said, "I won't use it." So I said, "Well, we'll put it in, but we'll turn it round to face the wall because it's been allocated for your room and you don't have to use it." Well, it wasn't long and he realized he's missing out. So he quickly turned it round and used it. So I found that quite challenging. And when we were trying to train the doctors, "Oh, we're far too busy, we can't possibly come." And I said, "Right, well, how about we do it in the evening, about 5 o'clock, when you've just finished your work for the day before you go home." So we had a conference room, and what we had to do was buy a whole lot of pizzas, because I'd say to them, "And there's going to be food there." So they came, and it was great. They'd eat the pizzas, and we'd tell them what's going to happen, and that they'll be able to get their lab results. Doesn't matter where they were in the hospital, they'll be able to get their X-ray results. And suddenly they could see the benefits. Still, some of them were a bit hard getting, but we got them all in the end.
So what advice, apart from make sure you've got pizzas, do you have for the next generation of informatics nurses?
Oh, well, the next generation are fortunate in that the groundwork has been done. They can now use the past to embrace and improve the future through research, innovation, and access to several educational opportunities. And there's now lots of books being written by the ones that have been doing the groundwork. And that's been interesting because you can go back and read those and find out what's happening. And they're still coming out. The books are still coming out. I was in part of one of them as an editor, and that was quite a challenge at the beginning. But now it's way past that. I mean, it's the technology is fabulous.
And it keeps changing, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Keeps changing. Everything keeps changing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, Robyn. It's been wonderful to hear something of your story. I think you probably haven't told us everything, because I know that you've done an awful lot more than you've probably shared today. But that's a brief taste for those who are interested and want to learn more. Thank you very much for your time today.
Well, thank you, Michelle, because you've been a big part of working with me, and between us and with Lucy, we've done a lot of work in this area. So thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.